I know that, oh world, I know that you are tired. Pittsburgh calls it the nature of reality. Toon is testing a theory that Adolf tested in the 30s. And America has quietly sworn by ever since the murder of Kennedy. Here's the idea that you can build trust on policies that are fair to both sides. Because, in their view, if you try that, someone will just come along with a gun and shoot you and take it all away from you. The people who are resisting gangs like ICE, I live in a precinct where there's a sheriff who regards what ICE did in shooting that Renee Good girl as law enforcement. Not that it was necessarily right, but upon seeing everything and judging all things equally, he viewed her in defiance of an order. Most people want to be civil to law enforcement, but it's hard when your self-respect is so openly violated. They did not have to shoot that girl. So what we see is pure argument. If you look at what was done to me, you'll see that nobody addresses it. In 1974, Gail Burston wrote letters that Paul McCartney claimed he found in the early 80s. He proceeded to work with her gang in executing the program she had authored with intent to compensate him further by pornographic genocide for what he claims was the death of his partner. So he was perfectly willing to work forever, happily ever after with the people who he claims killed his partner. Because they could make money brutally torturing me and get horrible gangsters like Seattle's UW and the University of Pittsburgh to smother it in hazing questions. So it was hopeless from the very beginning. It was hopeless that people would care more about those at risk and warning the public than they would care about who made money off of John Lennon, even in the situation where it was a scam. It doesn't matter to them whether it's a scam as long as the scam is saleable. So when you look maybe a little bit agog at my warning in a Carnegie Mellon University newspaper that Israel was out to get revenge for Auschwitz in 1994, you trace that through the intellectual circuits of Palestinian feminism at the University of Pittsburgh. You find that I was ignored and laughed at And Seattle called it building momentum for what proved to be the eternal crime of genocide in Gaza. So we're not allowed to see the connection between, on this side, the people who supported Gail Berson's operation in Maine, and on this side, the people who built momentum for the massacres in Gaza. In Paul McCartney's mind, those are the balance beams of a judicial process. You supported Gail Berson, so you get massacred, and happily ever after for the perpetrators. Of both the atrocity of Gail Berson and the atrocity in Gaza. It's perfectly obvious how hopeless that is. And the reason that it's hopeless is because the truth is the truth. They robbed me of my hard work and injury settlement. And you can't naysay that. They chewed the carpets. They started screaming and ranting about John Lennon, about Russia, about, they justified that. Give you the truthful narrative of the Seattle Rave Massacre. It was a MAGA type situation. The supernova is staked out here in advance. It's on J Division. Then they have something called an Atrocity Exhibit. Let me look up Joy Division a minute. Joy Division, I think, had an Atrocity Exhibition. Yeah,